If you're wondering if you should hire an agent to work with, if you're curious or even suspicious about real estate agents, let's start with this. Number 1, you do not need an agent to buy a house. Number 2, it is not true that a buyer's agent is free to the home buyer, but that doesn't mean you pay out of pocket either. This video has 2 sections. First, the reasons, good reasons, why people can be skeptical on the value of agents. Second, the steps agents take home buyers through in buying a property. I've listed the chapter so you can jump ahead to what agents do for buyers if you like. Have you ever seen someone, or have you yourself made a passing comment about buying or selling a house on Facebook? What's the response? Hundreds of replies, a dozen DMs, call me's, and text me because I love real estate. Agents tripping over each other to get your attention. Not cool. As a professional, it's embarrassing. As a consumer, it's annoying. But the truth of the matter is, when you decide to buy a house, that's just the first in a long line of decisions you'll need to make. And the stakes are very high. Several $100,000 in loans, dozens of thousands out of pocket, and then you get to lay all those very expensive chips on the table hoping you get a good, solid, serviceable home and not a nightmare money pit. This is not a scare tactic. You need to know bad contracts are hard to terminate. Let me make 2 points and we'll get to the nuts and bolts. Number 1, the current market is so hot, the learning curve for a home buyer on their own is incredibly steep. Number 2, you are not stuck with an agent you don't work well with. Just make it clear up front that you have the option of moving on if it isn't a good fit. The first thing to be done with a new buyer is get a lender letter, and all letters are not created equally. Agents usually have a long-standing relationship with lenders. The realtor-lender connection can be a game changer because when the chips are down and times are tough, that relationship can get results versus no connection and leaving you out to dry. Nobody gets a call back. There's 3 types of letters. The pre-qualification letter has the least impact because nothing is verified. The pre-approval letter is better because your financial details are verified, making your offer a much better bet for the seller. The pre-certification letter has the most clout because the borrower is actually formally underwritten, and the only question mark is the property itself. Bottom line, to win a contract, the seller has to have supreme confidence you can buy. A realtor needs to make sure you can do just that and represent that to the seller when the time comes. The next thing an agent does is lay out what the total costs are, and likely for a new buyer, it's more than you think. It's not just down payment, it's down payment and earnest money and closing costs and inspection costs, plural, possibly. And maybe there's an appraisal gap to cover. These days, appraisals can't keep up with rising home prices, and the gap is the difference between the appraisal amount and the sale price. The short story on appraisal gaps is this. If you're bringing 20, 30, 40% to the purchase, you can likely navigate a gap. If you're not, if you're getting a loan with low down, covering the gap can be a very risky play. I used to be surprised at how little buyers knew about the home they wanted. Not anymore. It's amazingly consistent. Before you can find the perfect house, you have to be able to define it. This is not as easy as you'd think. Let's get one thing straight up front. There's no perfect house. There's always some compromise. The trick is discovering a home that's in the buyer's price range and checks as many of the like-to-have and must-have boxes as possible. When I ask what you're looking for in a house and someone says, "I'll know it when I see it," that's a non-starter for me. We don't start visiting places till we get this cleared up because they won't know it when they see it because they don't know what it is. They'll pass on dozens of places that would have worked looking for that magical blend of the unknown it. These are the people that start with dreams of a small mini farm with chickens and a couple acres and end up in a townhome. When you do the hard work of deciding what you actually want up front, put in some windshield time getting to know the different areas and confirming what you think, your chances of finding the perfect home skyrocket because you know what you're looking for. This takes way more one-on-one guidance than you'd think. Our number 1 job when it's all said and done is managing expectations, especially in this market. Buying a house is stressful, it's emotional, and keeping things in perspective when you're getting banged around with bad home inspections and lost offers can be a massive undertaking. The percentage of home buyers that have quit looking is about 33%. Without someone to tell you what to expect, frustrations can make your search seem hopeless. My number one piece of advice to any buyer is this: let the right house come to you. Don't force it. Relax and let them come. For me, this has worked 100% of the time because it's our job to help you believe it's not too late, that there's more homes out there and yours will come along if you're patient. I'm telling you, it's never failed. A 2-hour video wouldn't be able to contain the strategy and tactics of what a winning offer looks like. There is no formula. Simply put, a winning offer is one the seller will accept, the buyer can afford, and be happy with long term. All contingencies are negotiable: inspections, repairs, appraisals, financial. There's closing date, temporary occupancy, leasebacks. Every seller has different needs, and in this market, the offer needs to address them specifically if possible. Most people think money always wins. That is not true. It is true it does win most of the time, but not always, and you need to know when it won't. Winning contracts takes practice. Take advantage of someone who's been through the learning curve. The secret sauce for finding a home you love and for the right price, especially in this hot market, is to stay in the game. Don't force it by settling for a house that's okay versus what you really want. You'll spend years regretting that decision until you sell it. Having someone help you believe the process is worth it will give you hope and patience. If you need to take a break from the buying process and catch your breath, do it. Better fresh than fried. Have you ever noticed the only ones who make it to the top of the mountain are the ones who didn't stop climbing? You can do this. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you join us. Talk to you soon.